Okay. So here you can see there are a couple of questions. So in fact, 5 questions are there. We may not be able to discuss all the questions, but some of the selected questions we are going to discuss in the today's tutorial. So the question number 1, we are not going to take on that. We are going to take question number 2. The question number 1 you can easily handle because that is more or less the theoretical questions. You can easily pick the answers from the text itself or even based on the lecture materials. But instead, we may be focusing on the application. So hence, we thought of discussing from question 2 onwards. So let's first see question number 2, what it says. The ABC company wishes to decide whether to whether to lease a new machine to assist its manufacturer of it must be manufacturing, right? Manufacturing of a single product for the coming quarter, and also to decide what price to charge for the product in order to maximize the profit. Okay, so you are in a decision scenario. You are thinking of leasing a new machine to assist you with the manufacturing of a single product for the coming quarter. And also you want to decide what price to charge for the product in order to maximize the profit. Then in the quarter just ended, the results were as follows. So you have given the results of the quarter that has just ended. You have sold 200 units and the wages, fixed, piecework, material, cost of goods sold, the gross profit, the royalties that you have paid based on the number of units that you sell, administration expenses, the fixed cost, and the loss is given. Then it says that the ABC company expect that during the coming quarter, the fixed basic wages, the fixed administration cost, and the royalty rates will not change. Even in the coming quarter, you would find that the fixed component of the wages, the fixed administration cost, and also the royalty rate is not going to change. The piecework rate will increase to rupees 0.5. So the piecework rate is not given at the moment, but you can work out because the cost is 90,000. The sales unit is 200,000. If you divide 90,000 by 200,000, it comes around 0.45 per unit. Then it's going to get increased to 0.5. piece rate. Then it says the quality control is very difficult and a high proportion of material is spoiled. So under the existing technology, the quality control is very difficult. You find that the most of the material being scrapped. Accordingly, a new machine has become available that can be delivered immediately. So maybe the machine that you may thinking of leasing. So that may be the machine that you may be thinking of leasing. The tests have shown that it will eliminate the quality control problems resulting in halving of the usage of material. එතකොට අපිට පේනවා මේ අලුත් මැෂින් එක ලීස් කිරීමත් එක්ක quality control issues වලට solution එකක් හම්බ වෙනවා. quality control problems තියෙන්නේ නැති වෙයි. ඒ කියන්නේ scraps නැති වෙයි. ඒ වගේම material cost එක භාගයක් වෙනවා. It can be bought but can be leased for rupees 115,000 per quarter. අපිට ඒක කැමති නම් මිලට ගන්නත් පුළුවන්. එහෙම නැත්නම් ලීස් කරන්නත් පුළුවන් quarter එකකට 1,15,000කට. Then the production has a very short shelf life. The production has a very short shelf life and is produced only to order. So this product is a product with a short lifetime and it is produced, with short shelf life in the sense, so it may not remain in the inventory for so long period of time. So මේ product එක ඉක්මනින් move වෙන product එකක් වැඩි shelf life එකක් නැහැ. නිසා අපි මේක produce කරන්නේ orders වලට. ABC estimate if the company were to charge the unit selling price, demand for the product will increase by, here make one correction, it must be 100,000. මෙතන පුතාලා 100,000 වෙන්න ඕනේ 1000 නෙමෙයි. ඒක mistake එකක්. Per unit per quarter for each rupee decrease in selling price. Selling price එක අඩු වෙනකොට රුපියලකින් අඩු වෙනකොට demand එක වැඩි වෙනවලු ලක්ෂයකින්. Right? So that the company would receive orders for 500,000 units if the company is able to offer them free of charge. අපි මේක රුපියලක්වත් ගන්න නැතුව මේ product එක sell කරොත් අපිට units 500,000 sell කරගන්න පුළුවන්. In the sense, at the price of 0, your units or the sales is going to be 500,000. And would decrease by, here it has to be again 100,000 units per quarter for each rupee increase in the unit selling price. Okay, සෑම රුපියලකම වැඩි වීමකටම 1000ක් ලක්ෂයකින් වැඩි වෙනවලු. 1000ක් නෙමෙයි ලක්ෂයක් කරගන්න. So that the price of rupees 5 sales would be 0. So that the price of 5 sales would be 0. So the price එක රුපියල් 5ේදී sales 0 වෙනවා. So information ටිකක් තියෙනවා අපිට demand එක estimate කරගන්න පුළුවන්. Then the question is about, you are required to advise ABC whether in the coming quarter the company should lease the new machine and also the price that the company should charge for the product. එතකොට අපිට decide කරන්න කියනවා coming quarter එකේ මේ machine එක අපි lease කරනවද සහ අපි ඒ වගේම charge කරන price එක මොකක්ද කියන. Right. Yes, just go through the information and see. First, you can decide whether you are going to lease this machine in the next quarter. So first decide that, and then we may look at what is the price to be charged. Take 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes time, and just read through the question and understand that. Then we can work them out together. So විනාඩි 5ක් 10ක් අරගෙන question එක කියවලා ඒක understand කරගන්න. ඊට පස්සේ අපි බලමු. Right. Hope that you have read the question and would have understand the requirements. So accordingly, so shall we decide whether the uh, purchase of this machine is worth or not? බලමු දැන් මේ machine එක purchase කරන එක worth ද නැද්ද කියන එක. ඒකට අපි ගාව දැන්ට existing information තියෙනවා. අපි බලමු what would happen to the uh, profit if you purchase this new machine, right? So let's take if the company leases this new machine. Okay, let's look at what would have been the cost information. Still no impact on the sales price, so we may assume that we need to assume a particular level, and then we can compare it with the existing situation. දාලා දැන් අපිට මේක compare කරන්න වෙනවානේ. දැන් මෙතන 200,000 units වලදී තමයි දීලා තියෙන්නේ loss එක 40ක් කියලා. ඒතකොට අපි අලුත් machine එකේ අපි බැලුවොත් 200,000 units produce කරනකොට මොකක්ද වෙන්නේ කියන එක. ඒතකොට අපිට මේක හොඳ comparison එකක් තියෙනවා. same basis එකේනේ. එකම එකක මට්ටමකදී මොකක්ද තත්ත්වය අපි machine එක rent කරනවා කියලා sorry අපි machine එක lease කරනවා කියලා හිතුවා. ඒතකොට අපි 200,000 level එකේ හදමු if the company leases new machine. ඒතකොට අපේ sales වෙන්නේ 200,000 units. 200,000 units are there. So the sales price is not getting affected. It's still rupees 3. So it's 600. It's 200,000 units into 3, 600,000. Then if you take the production wages, there's a fixed component. The question had said that it's not going to change. The fixed basic wages, it's not going to change. It remains at 20. So it is 20, no change. Then what about the piecework? It says that piecework rate will increase to rupees 0.5. The piecework rate it increased to 0.5. Then you have 200,000 units. So accordingly, if you take the cost, it's 0.5 into 200, it's 100. No? So at the moment, you can see it is 90,000 in the sense, if you divide by this 90,000 by 200,000, it's 0.45. But in the next quarter, the piecework rate will increase to 0.5. Okay. Then you have the material. So the question says that if you use this new machine, the cost would be half. Cost would be halving. So in the sense, there would be half of this cost. So the 400,000 is the existing cost. So the new cost is going to be 200,000. So give me 1 second. Right. So the material cost has become half. So you took that. Then we can see the cost of, sorry, before that, you need to look for, what do you call that, the lease cost. So the lease cost, it's going to be, it can be bought, but can be leased for rupees 115,000 per quarter. So the machine rent must also be there. it's 115,000. So consequently, you can work out like in the previous case, the cost of goods sold can also be worked out. Cost of sales. Cost of sales. Here you can take 435. Let me take the sales to the next one. Yeah, it's 200 into 0.5. Consequently, you can see the gross profit 165 gross profit is witnessed. Under the new situation in the next quarter, you can see the gross profit of 165. Then you can see the royalty rate. The question had said that it's not going to change, and also the fixed administration not going to change. So you can take the royalty 0.5. Since you are selling all the units that you produce, 0.5 into 200. Consequently, it's 0.5 into 200, that much. And then you have the administration expenses, admin expenses. How much? It's not going to change. It's 30, I think. Huh? Yes, it's 30. So if you consider that, then you may come up with the answer at this particular level. You can see there's a profit. There's a profit of 35. So earlier you had a loss of 40, but now you are better off. You're going to compare this 40 with the profit. So thus, what is your condition is going to be? So are you going to go ahead with leasing the machine or not? The company should lease the new machine. That is the decision what you have to take. You can see that if you purchase the machine, you maybe ended up making a profit. Hence, you can suggest that, yes, you can recommend the purchase of the new machine. You can recommend the leasing of right. So just see whether you are clear with that. If not, you can let me know, then we can further discuss. See whether you are fine with that. බලන්න තමයි පැහැදිලිද කියලා අපි කරපු දේ. If anything that you are not clear, so please just I'm waiting for a kind of feedback. Just are you all getting this or not? Are you fine with that or not? That's a simple question. Got that? So is that clear? Can we move on? Bisa dan keluar betul lah. Hope you all got that right. Okay, so no response. Fine. So here, then the next thing is that they might ask you to the company should yeah, we have decided that. Then the price that the company should charge for the product. That's what it asks. So charge කරන්න ඕනේ price එක අහනවා ඊළඟට. ඒකට අපි බලමු price එක මොකක්ද වෙන්න ඕනේ company එක charge කරන. ඒකට අපි බැලුවොත් මෙතන you can see the situation. So in fact, so here the price, what they may be asking is that the price that they should charge in order to maximize the profit, because that is the ultimate purpose of an organization, right? The price to be charged. So the price to be charged in order to maximize the profit. So profit එක maximize වෙන charge කරන්න ඕන price එක මොකක්ද? Or if I ask you, what is the point that maximizes the profit? So if you assume a kind of economic model, economic model එක assume කරොත් මොකක්ද price එක maximize කරන point එක? It is the point where the marginal revenue equals the marginal cost. So hence, the price at the point where the marginal revenue equals the marginal cost, that's going to be the, yes, very correct, that's going to be the price. So therefore, here you need to work out what is the marginal revenue and marginal cost. So accordingly, first, let's derive the TR and TC, right? TR, then TC. So how can we get this TR? So you are given the information about the demand and the prices. It says that you can see now we are at 200,000 unit level. So if I take the price and the quantity at 200,000 units, sorry, at the price of 3, so here we take the price 3, your quantity was 600, sorry, 200,000, no? 200,000. Or let me take the figures in thousand, it's 200. තර්පතල් මතකයි මෙතන price එක 3ක් වෙනකොට units ප්‍රමාණය 200,000. මම මේක thousands වලින් ගත්තත් 200 කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ question එකේ කියනවා අපිට පේනවා ABC estimate that if the company were to change the unit selling price, demand for the product would increase by 1,000 කියලා, right? For each rupee increase, it's going to be for each rupee decrease, it's going to be increased by 1,000. And then it says that if the company would receive orders for 500,000 unit if the company is able to offer them free of charge. එතකොට අපි කීයක්වත්ම ගත්තේ නැත්නම්, right? කීයක්වත්ම ගත්තේ නැත්නම් අපිට 500,000 units හම්බ වෙනවා orders. ඒ වගේම කියනවා සෑම රුපියලකම සිද්ධ වෙන අඩුවීමකටම ඒකක ප්‍රමාණය ලක්ෂකින් වැඩි වෙනවා කියලා. එතකොට අපි දන්නවා price එක 5ක් වුණොත් මේක වැඩි කරගෙන යමු 4 5. එතකොට මෙතන 1 2 විදියට 5ක් වුණොත් මේක බිඳුවක් වෙනවා කියලා. එතකොට ඒක obvious. අපි හිතුවත් රුපියලකින් අඩු වෙනවා කියලා price එක 3 ඉඳලා 2 වුණොත් ඒක ඒකක ලක්ෂයකින් drop වෙනවා කියන්නේ 2 ලක්ෂය ලක්ෂයක් වෙනවා. එතකොට තව ඒක sorry වැඩි වීමක් වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒක 300,000 වෙනවා. තව රුපියලක් අඩු වුණොත් තව ඒකක ලක්ෂයකින් වැඩි වෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ 400,000 වෙනවා. එතකොට බිඳුව වුණොත් මේක 5 ලක්ෂයක් වෙනවා. එතකොට ඒක perfectly තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම තමයි වැඩි වීමේදී ඒක අනිත් පැත්තට work කරන්නේ. right. එහෙනම් මේක තමයි අපේ quantity සහ price information. එතකොට මේ quantity සහ price information base කරගෙන ඔයාලට work out කරගන්න පුළුවන් the first the price function, then the if you get them multiplied by the quantity, then the TR. එතකොට මෙතන අපිට price function එක demand function එක අපිට derive කරගන්න පුළුවන්. So demand function එක අපි derive කරගත්තොත් අපි මේකේ dependent variable එක අපි ගමු P සහ Q තරත් බලමු රුපියලක සිද්ධ වෙන වෙනසට කොච්චරක් quantity එක respond කරනවද කියලා. ඒකට අපිට පේනවා මෙතන රුපියලක වෙනස් වීමට quantity එක 100 වලින් වැඩි වෙනවානේ. ඒ වගේම price එක 0 වෙලාවේ quantity එක 500,000 තියෙනවා. එතකොට අපි සූත්‍රය හදාගත්තොත් so you can take it as P equals at the first the intersect you need to take. The intersect is at the point where the price is 0. You need to look at what is the demand. So the demand is 500. So මිල බිඳුවක් වෙන වෙලාවේ demand එක කීයද කියන එක බලන්න ඕනේ. ඒක තමයි අපි intersect එක නේ. එතකොට ඒක 500යි. ඒකට decreasing trend එකක් තියෙන්නේ. ඒතර price එක රුපියලකින් වැඩි වෙනකොට demand එක 100කින් වෙනස් වෙනවා. So that is going to be the slope. So the slope is going to be 100 Q. 100. Sorry. Yeah, it's 100. Is that are we correct in the development? Just check that. So we're looking at one increase. Here we are getting the Q function. Q function, it's yeah, usually we are getting the price function, no? Price function. Okay. Then this has to be, so this is your A-level economics that we are applying, right? So I'm just little thinking about that. Here we have, so we need to take that and the quantity 0. So if you have derived the price, sorry, yeah, we need to take the price function, sorry. So then, so at the quantity equals 0, the price is 5. So therefore that is going to be the intersect, and minus, there you can see it's drop for, so if the quantity drop by 100, then it's 1% decrease in the sale. So therefore it is 1 divided by 100 Q. So consequently, if you work that out, it's going to be P equals 5 minus 1 divided by 0 in 0.01 Q, right? Now let's see whether it's fine. If you apply quantity 0, price comes as 5. If you apply quantity as 100, price comes as 4. Okay, fine. So this is the demand function. The demand function we have taken, right? It's a price equals 5 minus 0.01 Q. So we are simply applying that y equal C plus mx, the basic formula. So that is the basic formula. So we are simply applied that. So in case of examination scenario, you may not be expected to work this out, but just for the knowledge, right? The P equal 5 minus 0.01 Q. Okay. Then, you know, in order to get the revenue, you need to multiply this by Q, right? So the total revenue comes as P multiplied by Q. So hence, now you know the P, it's 5 minus 0.01 Q, and get them multiplied by Q. So once you multiply that, your revenue function comes as 5q minus 0.01 q to the power 2, right? So that is the total revenue. So similarly, you can look at the total cost function as well. So the total cost function you can derive based on this. So there also you have the fixed cost and the variable cost. If I look at the fixed cost, that is going to be the intersect. Here, this is fixed cost. This is fixed cost. And the machine rent is also going to be fixed cost. The rest of the things, so those are going to be variable cost. Accordingly, you can see that here 30, 20, 50, 165, that is the intersect. Then what about the variable cost? Here we have 0.5 per unit. So here if you work out the material, then 200,000, 200,000 in the sense, it's 1 rupee, no? 1 rupee. So it's 1.5 accordingly. And then you have the royalty here, 0.5. So this would be the variable cost. So accordingly, you can see 1, 2. Variable cost is 2. So therefore, it's going to be 165 plus 2q. So that is the total cost function. So now you have the total revenue and total cost. Now how you are supposed to derive the marginal revenue. So if you have the what you call the total revenue function. So using the mathematics that you learned in your first year, you can derive the marginal revenue. So if you are to apply the differentiation for this marginal revenue, then you can get the total revenue, you can get the marginal revenue. So you can apply the differentiation. So how we are going to do that? So if you take this 5q, then there you know there's power 1. Then if you multiply this 1 by 5, there it comes 5. Q into the 0 power, it's 1. So therefore, it's just 5. Minus 0.01 q to the power 2. 2 multiplied by 0.01, it's going to be 0.02. Then power 1 is there. So therefore, it's q. So this is the marginal revenue. तर පුතාලා මතක ඇති ෆස්ට් ඉයර් එකේ ඉගෙන ගත්ත මැතමැටික්ස් නේ. तर මැතමැටික්ස් වල පුතාලා ඉගෙන ගත්තා මොකක්ද? අවකලනය. ඒකට ඒ අවකලනය ඩිෆරන්සියේෂන් නොලෙජ් එක භාවිතා කරොත් මෙතන අපිට total revenue එකකින් marginal revenue ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකට කොහොමද අවකලනය වෙන්නේ? එතන මෙතන අපිට තියෙනවා 5 key q to the power 1 තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට ඒ power එකකින් අපි multiply කරන්න ඕනේ අපේ මෙතන තියෙන 5. ඒකට 5 එකේ වැඩි කරොත් 5යිනේ. ඒතර q වල to the power 1 කියන එක අයින් වුණාම මෙතන ඉතුරු වෙන්නේ 0 කියන power එක. q to the power 0 කියන්නේ 1යි. ඕනම එක බිඳුවෙනි බලය කියන්නේ 1යි. ඒතකොට ඒක මොකුත්ම නැහැ. මෙතන තියෙනවා දෙකක් power එක. ඒතකොට මේ දෙකෙන් 0.01 multiply කරොත් 0.02 q 0.02 වෙනවා. ඒතකොට මෙතන q to the power 1 තමයි ඉතුරු වෙන්නේ. ඒතකොට මෙතන එකක් යනවා. ඒතකොට ඔන්න 0.02 q marginal revenue. So similarly, you can get the marginal cost. How it's going to be? The marginal cost, it's 2. So 165, it's just a number, so nothing is there, so it becomes 0. And 2q to the power 1, it's 2, and that's it. This is it. So therefore, the MR equal MC, this is the situation. So make the situation. So if you are to work this out, you can see that 5 minus 2, it's going to be 3. 3 equals 0.02 q. So therefore, if you take the quantity, you can divide. You have to take the quantity at which the price would be maximized. It's 3 divided by 0.02. So at 150,000 units, you are going to have the maximum profit maximization. Profit maximization එක සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ කීයෙන්ද? ඒකක 150. The question එකේ අපෙන් අහන්නේ මොකක්ද? price එක අපි charge කරන්න ඕන එක. The price formula එක තියෙනවා අපේ P equals so 5 minus 0.01 Q. එතකොට මෙතන ගත්තොත් 5 minus 0.01 into Q 150. එතකොට බලන්න කීයක් එනවද කියලා. 5 minus 0. It's going to be 1.5 or something, no? 1.5ක් වගේ වෙන්නේ. එතකොට අපිට පේනවා මේක ආන්සර් එක 3.5. ඒතර ප්‍රයිස් එක 3.5 දී තමයි අපේ ප්‍රොෆිට් එක මැක්සිමයිස් කරන්නේ. ඒතර අපි හරියන්නේ නේද? ඒතර 3 දී 200යි 2 දී 100යි නම් 300යි නම් 3.5 දී ඒකක 150ක් වෙනවා. ඒතර අපිට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන ආන්සර්ස් හරි. නම් මේ ක්වෙස්චන් එකේ මේ විදිහට තමයි කරන්නේ. සාමාන්‍ය පුතාලා දෙන ප්‍රශ්නයකදී මේ price function එක අනිවාර්යෙන්ම දෙනවා. price එක දෙනවා සහ total cost function එක දෙනවා. ඒත් නමුත් මේ question එකේ දුන්නේ නැහැ. මේක අපි practice question එකක්. අපි ඒක work out කරගත්තා. ඒකට ඒක මම හිතනවා හොඳයි. දෙන ලද ප්‍රශ්නයකට අදාළව පුතාලට ඒක work out කරගන්න පුළුවන්. Yes. So this is the answer it would be. See whether you are clear with that. If not, just let me know anything that you are not comfortable so we can try them again. පැහැදිලි නැද්ද දෙයක් තියෙනවා කියන්න අපිට ඒක අපෝසරයක් try out කරන්න පුළුවන්. Even in the operational research, if you had that subject, you would have discussed this the profit maximization point under the economic model, the MR equal MC. Yeah, how to get this TR, the total revenue function, then the total cost, and then to apply the differentiation and get the MR and MC, and thereby establish the profit maximization point, and consequently to get this. Right. Okay. So hope you would have made something out of that, and let's move on. And here with the in the next question, please have it as a question. එතන mistake එකක් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. question එකක් දාලා නැහැ. ඒක question 3 කියලා දාගන්න. So take it as question 3. මේ question 3 එක විදිහට ගන්න. Let's see. The ACB operates in an entirely different industry. However, it also produces to orders and carries no inventory. Right? A demand function is estimated to be 5 minus 0.01 Q, where the P is the unit selling price, rupees, and the Q is the quantity demanded in thousands of quantity units. Its total cost function is estimated to be C equals 165 plus 2Q, where the C is the total cost in rupee thousands and Q is about. Right. So as I told you, you can see that here you are given the price function and also the cost function. Then it asks, calculate the output in units that will maximize the total profit. You are supposed to identify the output that will maximize the profit and also to calculate the corresponding unit selling price, the total profit, and the total sales revenue. Okay, so it's application of the economic model, so you can try that out. Then it also asks you to calculate the output in units that will maximize the total revenue and to calculate the corresponding unit selling price, the total loss, and the total sales revenue. හරි. එතකොට දැන් පුතාලා apply කරන්න බලන්න. මේක work out කරගන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි. So take a few minutes and read the question. Right. Okay. So let's, without taking much time, let's look at. So in that question, you are given the price and the cost function that is exactly similar to the even the previous one, but it's still worth looking at. So it's a question. Let me take it as question 3. So you are given the price function is given. It's 5 minus 0.01 q and the demand function, it's C equals, sorry, cost function, C equals 165 plus 2Q. So again, you can derive the TR equal TC, that is the point where the profit is maximized. TR equal T, sorry, the MR equal MC. In order to get that, you need to have the TR equal TC. 5 minus 0.01 Q multiplied by Q. The total revenue, the total cost 165 plus 2. So if you apply that, it's going to be it's 5Q minus 0.01 Q to the power 2 equals 165 plus 2Q. So if you get that, it's 5 minus 0.02 Q equals, consequently, if you work that out, again, you can see the Q comes as 100. So this is the point at which the profit would be maximized. So this is the output at which the profit is maximized, right? It's a quantity at which profit is maximized. So that's the first question is about. It's 150,000 because the figures are in thousands. Question says that, no? Then the next thing what it asks calculate the corresponding unit selling price. Unit selling price that it asks. So therefore, you have the P function, P equals the 5 minus 0.01 Q. So if we apply that, it's going to be P equals 5 into 0.01 Q multiplied by 150. Accordingly, the price comes as 3.5, no? Exactly the similar, the previous one, P equals 0.3. So you can take the price which the profit is maximized, that is rupees 3.5. Okay, that's the next requirement. Then let's see what is the other. Then it asks the total profit and the total sales revenue. Okay, so let's look at the total profit. So the profit equals, it's the total revenue minus total cost. So the total revenue is 5Q minus 0.01 Q to the power 2. The revenue cost is 165 minus 2Q. So if you take that, your profit formula comes as, it's 3Q minus 0.01 Q to the power 2 minus 165. So this is your profit formula. Now you can apply 150 to this. So it's 3 multiplied by 150 minus 0.01 multiplied by 150 to the power 2 minus 165. And just check that it's 450 minus 150 to the power 2. So 150 multiplied by 150. 50 multiplied by 150. it comes as 22,500 multiplied by 0.01 is 225 minus 165. So once you get that, 450 minus 225 minus 165, so it is 60. So the profit comes as maximum profit comes as 60,000. So that's the profit. Then it asks what is the total revenue. Total revenue equals 5q minus 0.01 q to the power 2. So if you apply that, 150 minus 0.01 multiplied by 150 to the power 2. 150 into 5 words 300, 750 minus 225. 750 minus 225, 585. So therefore the revenue at this point, if you take the total revenue at the point where you maximize the revenue, it's going to be 525,000. Okay. So these are the answers for that. Answers. See whether you are clear with that. If anything that you are not comfortable, just please do let me know. It's rupees 3.5, 150,000 quantity, and the profit at that point 60,000. Then the total revenue 525,000. So that's how you take. So similarly, if you just work out the total cost, it was said that it's 165 plus 2q, right? So the cost comes as 165 plus 2 into 150,000. It's 465,000. So the total cost 402. Cost 465,000. Hi. එතකොට ඒක කන්ෆර්ම් වෙනවා පුතා maximum profit එක මේ දෙක අතර වෙනස 60,000ක් තමයි එන්නේ නේ. ඒතර අපි ඒක හරියට කරලා තියෙනවා කියන එක කන්ෆර්ම් වෙනවා. So that is the first part where it asks you what is the calculate the output in units that will maximize the total profit, and to calculate the corresponding unit selling price, the total price, and the total sales revenue. Done. Then the second part asks you calculate the output in units that will maximize the total revenue. So output එක ගන්න කරන්න කියනවා in units that will maximize to total revenue. Total revenue එක maximize කරන point එකේ output එක ගන්න කරන්න කියනවා. කලින් කිව්වේ මොකක්ද? Total profit එක. නමුත් දැන් මෙතන total revenue. ආදායම උපරිම වෙන අවස්ථාවේ තියෙන output එක ගන්න කරන්න කියන. ඒ වගේම selling price එක, loss එක, total sales revenue එක. හරි. එතකොට අපි second part එකකින් බලන්නේ. What is that? This is part 1. First part. And in the part 2, it is about the point that maximize the revenue. Point that maximize the revenue. So remember the point where the revenue is maximized is what we call the point where the MR is equal to 0. But අපි දන්නවා revenue profit එක maximize කරන point එක තමයි MR equal MC කියන point එක. ඒ වගේම අපෙන් අහුවොත් ආදායම උපරිම කරන point එක මොකක්ද කියලා ඒක තමයි MR equal 0. එතකොට අපි marginal revenue එක වැඩි වෙන්නේ නැති තත්ත්වයක් තුල නිෂ්පාදනය වැඩි වුණත් ඒක ගාන විකුණුම වැඩි වුණත් marginal revenue එක වැඩි වෙන්නේ නැති point එක තමයි අපි කියන්නේ revenue maximize කරන point එක කියලා. So you can take that. It's 5q minus 0.01 q to the power 2 must be equal to 0. So then if you apply that, it's going to be the 5q equals 0.01 q to the power 2. So that's how it goes. So then if you simply solve that, you can divide both the side by q. Then it's going to be 5 equals 0.01 q. So then if you take the q, so it's going to be 5 divided by 0.01. So it's going to be 500. So hence the quantity at which the sales revenue is maximized is going to be is 500,000 units. එතකොට ඒකක ලක්ෂ 5ක් හදනකොට තමයි දාලා revenue එක maximize වෙන්නේ. Okay. Then it asks you, what is that? Calculate the corresponding unit selling price. The price function එකට අපිට apply කරන්න පුළුවන් මේක. P equals what was given? It's 5 minus 0.01 q. So you can take that. It's 5 minus 0.01 q is 500,000. This is it. Yeah. What happens? It becomes 0 නේ. ඒකට ඒක 500ක් වෙනකොට ඒක 500,000 into 0.01 කියන 5යි 5න් 5 ගියාම හරි. එතකොට ඒ වෙලාවේ price එක 0. price එක 0 කියන point එක. Then you have just figure that out. The price at which the total revenue is maximized. It's going to be 0. Right, it's 0. Then if you look at the next requirement, it asks about the total loss. So again, you can take the profit function. Here we have taken that because profit is equal the total revenue minus total cost. Total revenue function is 5q minus 0.01 q to the power 2 minus 165 minus 2q. So you can apply this 500 over there, minus 0.01 into 500 to the power 2 minus 165 minus 2 multiplied by 500. So once you apply that, there it comes 5 into 500 is at 2,500, right? 2,500 minus, then you have 500 to the power 2, 250,000 multiplied by 0.01, 2,500 minus 165 minus 2 into 500, it's 1,000. So if you take that 2,500 minus 2,500 minus 165 minus, so it's going to be a loss of 1,165. So 1,165,000. So this is the loss. Point in which revenue is maximized. So revenue එක maximize කරන point එකේදී අපිට පේනවා loss එකක් තියෙනවා කීයක්ද 1,165,000. අවසාන වශයෙන් අහනවා අපෙන් the total sales revenue. TR. TR equals 5 into Q minus 0.01 Q power 2. So if you apply that, it's 5 into Q, it's 500 minus 0.01 to 500 to the power 2. So it's going to be 0, isn't it? There it comes 0. So if you work that out, you would witness it's going to be 0. So this is the total revenue at the point where the revenue is maximized. Right. Revenue එක maximize කරන point එක විදිහට අපිට දීලා තියෙන්නේ total revenue එක 0. Right. Okay. So this is about the question number 2. Simply applying your knowledge on the total revenue and total cost, or it's basically the economic model, no? Economist model. So that is the MC equal M1. So in case of the examination, you may not be tested up to this, but it's just for the purpose of knowledge. And if you are going to be tested, definitely you'll be given the price function and the cost function may be given. So then only you will be able to apply that and work out what is the point at which the profit or the revenue is maximized, and accordingly the rest of the things. Fine. Okay, so it's about the second and third question, and let's move on to the question number 4. Here it mentioned as question number 3. Let's see that it's the Albany has recently spent some time on researching and developing a new product for which they are trying to establish a suitable price. Okay. Previously they have used the cost plus 20% to set the selling price. So it's a cost plus pricing. The standard cost per unit has been estimated as follows. The standard cost එක පහත පරිදි තීරණය කරලා තියෙනවලු. Direct material 10 and direct material 2, it's 7, the direct labor 13, fixed overhead 7, altogether cost is there 37. Then it asks us, using the standard cost, calculate two different cost plus prices using two different bases and explain an advantage and disadvantage of each method. So අපිට කියනවා මේ දීලා තියෙන cost information භාවිතා කරලා bases දෙකක් යටතේ suitable bases දෙකක් යටතේ අපේ price එක determine කරන්න කියලා. එතකොට then when you come to the application, you can go by the full cost, or even the other one may be a variable cost. So by taking that, you are supposed to work out the two prices and then discuss the advantages and disadvantages. Make it method එකේ තියෙන advantages සහ disadvantages ඒ අනුව discuss කරන්න කියනවා. Then the part 2, it asks us, give two other possible pricing strategies that could be adopted and describe the impact of each one on the price of the product. What? දැන් අපි මෙතන cost plus pricing භාවිතා කරන්නේ ඒ වෙනුවට අපිට භාවිතා කළ හැකි alternatives අහනවා. ඒත් එක්කම අපිට discuss කරන්න කියනවා එකකින් price එකට වෙන impact එක. Okay. So you can take some time and just give it a try. Then we'll see that together. Take some time, yeah, then see. Right, hope that you would have managed to read the question. So let's look at that. So the first part, it asks us using the standard cost, calculate the two different cost plus prices using two different bases and explain an advantage and disadvantage of each method. So usually when it comes to the cost plus pricing, you can either go by the full cost, no? So therefore we can take it as a one base. So if you take that the full cost and apply a profit percentage, let's see. So the full cost, they have worked that out. It was 37. It was given as, so first we take the full cost based pricing. We are going to take the full cost and work out the pricing. So the full cost, it's 37, and you're going to apply, let's say, the 20% margin. The profit is about keeping it 20%. It's in fact markup, right? Plus 20%. So if you have to keep that 20% markup, you can see the price is going to be 37 multiplied by 1.2. It's 44.4. So this is the selling price if you use the full cost. So instead, other alternative approach is about the variable cost base pricing. Variable cost base කරගෙන price එක determine කරන්න. The variable cost base price. So if you take the variable cost in this situation, it's going to be how much? 10, 7, 17 plus 13, 30. So it's 30. So again, if you apply this 20% markup, so what's your price is going to be 30 into 1.20, 36. So if you apply the variable cost based pricing, and if you apply the same markup, then it's going to be 36. Then it asks you what is the advantage and disadvantage of each method. So it starts with this, the full cost. What is the advantage? Yes, tell me what is an advantage of this method, the full cost method, and also disadvantage. Yes, you can obviously, by looking at this, so without thinking much, you can just come up with, no? So if you go by the full cost method, the good thing is that it will help you to cover the total cost and also to earn a intended profit margin. So that is one of the advantage. You can cover up the total cost and earn a desired margin. ඒක තමයි obviousම කතාව. මෙතන පේන අපිට පේන මුළු cost එකම අපිට ආවරණය කරගන්නත් පුළුවන්. ඒත් එක්කම අපිට පුළුවන් යම්කිසි desired profit margin එකක් තියාගන්න. ඒක advantage එකක්. One of the main advantage. ඒ වගේම මේකේ තියෙන disadvantage එක මොකක්ද? Do you have any motivation to reduce your cost? Then අපිට කිසිම cost එක අඩු කරන්න කිසිම motivation එකක් තියනවද? Do you find that? No, because the simple thing that you are going to do is when it comes to the pricing, you simply take the full cost and keep a margin, and then you decide the sales price. So therefore, there's no motivation or I would say lack of motivation to control cost. Cost එක control කරන්න කිසිම motivation එකක් නැහැ. මොකද cost එක කීයේ වුණත් ඔයාලට ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. ඔයා simply ඒකට markup එකක් තියෙනවා විකුණන්න. So therefore, lack of motivation to control cost is one of the main limitation. And also, you disregard the competition. Competition එක ගැන හිතනවද? නෑ ඔයා ඒක consider කරන්නේ. දැන් අපිට market එක operate වෙනකොට මේ විදිහටම යන්න බෑනේ. අපේ cost එක කීයේ වුණත් අපිට ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. අපි ඒකට profit එකට markup එකක් තියලා විකුණනවා කියන එක. එහෙම කරන්න බෑ. මොකද අපේ ඉන්නවා competitors ලා ඉන්නවා. ඒතකොට මේ competitors ලා අපි මේ විදිහට cost එක control එකක් නැතුව අරගෙන ගියොත් එයාලා අපිට වඩා competitive prices වලට භාණ්ඩ විකුණන්න පුළුවන්. So therefore මේ method එකේ තව තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නයක් තමයි ඒක it ignores the competition, right? It ignores the competition. ඒක තව එකක්. ඒ වගේම පුතා ලෙක්චර් එකත් කතා කරන්න ඇති මේකේ තියෙන තව එක ප්‍රධානම අඩුපාඩුවක් තමයි it ignores the demand. It ignores the market demand. Demand price relationship එක ඔයා ignore කරනවා. Demand price relationship. ඉතින් අපි කිසිම concern එකක් නැහැ market එකට. අපි කෙලින්ම ආයතනයේ cost එක තමයි focus කරන එකම කාරණාව. Right? So therefore, those are some of the limitations. And from the advantages, another advantage is that your price is justifiable. ඒක හොඳ තත්ත්වයක් නේද ආයතන වලට. මොකද අපිට price එක justify කරන්න පුළුවන්. අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් අපි cost එක cover කරලා ඒකට යම්කිසි reasonable margin එකක් තියලා තමයි මේ භාණ්ඩ විකුණන්නේ. නිසා අපේ prices are justifiable. ඒකත් තව එක advantage එකක් වෙන්නේ. එතකොට මේ විදිහට පුතාලට හිතලා ගන්න පුළුවන් advantages සහ disadvantages. So then when it comes to the variable cost based pricing, what is the advantage? මොකක්ද advantage? Variable cost pricing. So we can talk about the disadvantage first, because it's obvious. So these three disadvantages are equally applicable even here. මේ disadvantages මෙතනක් තියෙනවා. ඊට අමතරව මෙතන පේනවා පුතාලට if you go by the variable cost plus pricing, so sometimes you may not cover up the total cost. Not being able to cover up the total cost. Total cost එකවත් cover up කරගන්න බැරි වෙයි. එහෙම නැත්නම් desired profit margin එකක් full cost එකක් cover කරගන්න බැරි වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක එක අතකට disadvantage එකක්. අපිට lack of motivation කියන එක ගන්න බෑ. ඒක sorry. ඒක ඉවත් වෙන්න ඕනේ. සම මේක අපිට sustainable. මේ වගේ දෙයක් අපිට යන්න පුළුවන්. So in the short run, we may be able to operate, but in the long run, if you cannot cover up the fixed cost, you cannot proceed. So therefore, this method is variable cost based pricing is short term oriented. මේක අපිට long term එකේ කරගෙන යන්න බෑනේ. short term එකේ නම් ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. variable cost එක cover up කරනවා. ඒ නිසා වැඩේ ඇදගෙන යන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි long run එකට ගියපුවාම අපේ full cost එක cover වෙන්නේ නැත්නම් අපිට ව්‍යාපාරය පවත්වාගෙන යන්න බෑ. So therefore, this method is quite short term oriented. ඒවා basically disadvantage. Ignore the competition එක ignore කරලා තියෙනවා. Demand price relationship consider කරන්නේ. Not being able to cover up the total cost or the desired profit margin. The short term oriented. These are some of the limitations. Then what about the good thing? So there you have a motivation to control the cost, isn't it? You have a motivation to control the cost. Cost control කරන්න ඔයාලට motivation එකක් තියෙනවා, especially the fixed cost. Control the fixed cost, no? Especially fixed cost. Fixed cost එක ඔයා එතකොට උත්සාහ කරනවා පුළුවන් තරම් cover කරන්න. ඔයා variable cost එකට නම් profit margin එකක් තියන්නේ. එතකොට ඔයා ඒ වෙලාවේ උත්සාහ කරනවා වෙන්න පුළුවන් fixed cost එක cover කරන්න ඔයාට motivation එකක් තියෙනවා. ඔයා උත්සාහ කරන profit margin එකෙන් cover up කරගන්න cost එක. That is one of the advantage what you may be seeing. ඒ වගේම prices are justifiable නේ. එතනත් ඔයාලට හොඳ reasonable basis එකක් තියෙනවා. So what we are going to do is we are going to cover up the fixed cost and the desired profit margin. ඒ වගේම තමයි තව benefit එකක් ගත්තොත් මෙතනදී අපි special decision making scenario එකකට වගේ මේ method එක ගොඩක් හොඳ වෙන්න පුළුවන් නේ. ඒකට මොකද අපි marginal cost එහෙම නැත්නම් relevant cost තමයි මෙතන ගොඩක් වෙලාවට consider කරන්නේ. Variable cost කියන අපි දන්නවා ඒක තමයි relevant cost එක වෙන්නේ ගොඩක් වෙලාවට. So therefore it's good for a kind of one off event නේ. ඒකට අපි දැක්කා කලින් පාඩමෙත් අපි කතා කරා special order එකක් වගේ අපි undertake කරන වෙලාවක අපිට relevant cost එක cover up කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් අපි ඒක එතනදී අපි edition එක accept කරමු. එතකොට එතන අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් මේක suitable for special decision making scenarios. Example, accepting an and special order එකක් accept කරන අවස්ථාවක අපිට පුළුවන් මේ වගේ pricing technique එකක් භාවිතා කරන්න variable cost එක cover වෙනවා නම් ඒක okay. or winning special customer යම් කිසි customer කෙනෙක් win කරගන්න පුළුවන් මුලින්ම customer කෙනෙක් win කරගන්න අවශ්‍ය නම් අපි variable cost එක cover up වෙන price එකක් දීලා එයාව අපිට attract කරගන්න. ඒ වගේ special decision making scenarios වලට suitable වෙනවා නේ. So likewise you can think of what may be the suitabilities and then you can get them and that's going to be an appropriate answer, right? So likewise you can simply come up with certain advantages and disadvantages. Then let's look at the other part. It says that give two other possible pricing strategies that could be adopted and describe the impact of each one on the price of the product. What are the other possible pricing strategies that you can apply? So instead of using the cost base, so this is heavily being used, the cost base pricing. But apart from that, you can think about the special pricing techniques like what about price skimming or about the penetration. So these are two alternative pricing techniques, the price skimming and price penetration. So what happens in case of price skimming? So there are certain conditions, right? You cannot apply it for all the instances. When it comes to this skimming pricing, you cannot apply that for all the instances, but it has to be a kind of a novel product, right? Novel product. If this product, what we may consider, if it is a novel product, then you can think of price skimming. So in the price skimming, basically how it works. So you may be setting a very high price initially, right? And this is suitable for the markets where the customers are not sensitive to the price. So this is attractive for the customer segments, customers who are not sensitive to prices, right? The price වලට sensitive customers ලට මේ වගේ strategy එකක් work out කරන්න බෑ. ඒ වගේම product එක novel වෙන්නත් ඕන. So for novel product, it must be an appealing product. And the customers, on the other hand, the segment of the customers, what you may target, may not be sensitive to the prices. So if these conditions are there, you can think about skimming. So in the price skimming, what happens is that you are setting an initially very high price. Very high price you are setting, right? Initially, you are going to charge a very high price. But still it finds attractive to the market because the product is very novel and also the customers are not sensitive to the prices. For example, if I'm to tell you an example for this, the classic example, it's about the Apple iPhone. How about Apple iPhone? So in most recently they have launched their, I think the iPhone 12 or something, right? I'm not that much aware of that. I think it's Apple iPhone 12 or something. So if you look at the price, it comes around maybe 300,000 rupees in the local market, or maybe 250,000 likewise. It's ranging from 250,000 to 300,000. So it's a huge price, isn't it? For a mobile phone, who would be ready to afford that much of price? Because the mobile phones, the smartphones are available from rupees 10,000 upward, even below that. So in such kind of a market, when it comes to the Apple iPhones, they are charging around 250,000 to 300,000 for their new phone model. But it is still possible. So there is a customers who are really crazy for that, isn't it? They are really going behind that. They really want to purchase that, to acquire that. So it's possible because the product is very novel. So they are giving some a good quality product. So it's a high-end, good quality product. So therefore, the product features may justify the price. And even the customers, it is not meant for the lower income categories, or even it may not be even for the middle income categories, but it may be for the people with the high income. So it may be for the high income categories. So they may be looking at. So therefore, they look at this prestige, the quality, and the uniqueness. So all these things would eventually result in paying a high premium for the price. And here what basically happens is that soon after they launch it, they may be charging a high price, and then they keep that price maybe for several months. And once they feel that the particular market is saturated, then what they are going to do, they are going to drop the price the little with the intention of attracting the second level of customers. So likewise, they gradually, when the time goes on, they gradually decreases the prices and they are getting the different customer segments. උතල් දන්න දැන් Apple වගේ මොඩල් එකක් විශාල මුදලකට තමයි මුලින්ම එන්නේ නේ ලක්ෂ 2.5ක් 3ක් ඒ වගේ ගන්න. ඒකට ඒ වගේ ප්‍රයිස් එකක් ඉනිෂියලි තිබිලා මාස කිහිපයක්. ඒකට එයාලා තේරුණා මේ මාකට් එක සැචුරේටඩ් කියලා. ඒ ප්‍රයිස් වලට ගන්න රෙඩි කස්ටමර්ස්ලා අවසන් වෙනවා කියලා දැනනකොට එයාලා ඒ ප්‍රයිස් එක අඩු කරනවා. දැන් පුතාලා හිතුවොත් Apple previous model එකක් Apple අපි ගත්තොත් iPhone 6 එකක් iPhone 7 එකක්. ඒතකොට ඒ වගේ ප්‍රයිස් එකක් අපි දන්නවා දැන් රුපියල් 50,000කට 60,000කට ගන්න පුළුවන් iPhone 6 එකක්. ඒතකොට 7 එකකුත් 75,000 85,000 වගේ ගානකට ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒතකොට ඒක ප්‍රයිස් එක එන්න එයාලා අඩු කරනවා. ඒතකොට ඒ කාලෙත් එක්ක එයාලා price එක අඩු කරලා different market segments වලට යනවා. එතකොට එයාලා බලපුවාම මේ full range එකේ market ඔක්කොම ටික clear කරගෙන තමයි යන්නේ. එතකොට ඒක තමයි skimming pricing කියන්නේ. Initially set a high price, so when the time goes on, so you are going to gradually decrease the prices, right? And in contrast, if you take this price penetration, what happens is that you are setting a very low price. Initially, you are setting a very low price, right? Very low price. So maybe you may try to cover up only the variable cost. Initially, you may think about covering up the variable cost. So setting a low price, so then it will guarantee that the competitors may not come to that market. So that it may not be attractive for the competitors. So අපි very low price එකක් charge කරනවා. සමහරට අපි variable cost එක විතරක් වෙන්න ඇති cover කරගන්නේ. එතකොට ඒ තුලින් අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ මොකක්ද? වැඩි market share එකට යන්න. So we want to have a huge market share. So we may be keeping very low profit margin sometimes. So it may be 1% profit, 2% profit, but so that would be compensated by the large number of buyers. So from the market, we may be occupying maybe 60 to 70% of the market we may be occupying. So therefore, we may be better off. Though we are charging a very low premium, still we are better off because that is compensated by the large number of the audience. And also, this market is not that attractive to the competitors. For the competitors are මේ market එක attractive නැහැනේ අපි very low price එකක් offer කරනකොට. ඒකට අපේ market share එක එන්න වැඩි වෙනවා. ඒ නිසා අපි පොඩි price එකක් තියාගත්තට කමන්නේ අපි market එක හරහා ගමන් කරනවා. ඒකට ඒක තමයි penetration එකක් කියන්නේ. So you are going to penetrate. The skimming කියන්නේ ඒකට අපි කිමි දෙනවා වගේ නේද? එතකොට උඩකින් පටන්ගෙන අපි පහළට යනවා. ඒක තමයි skimming. නමුත් penetration කියන්නේ අපි වෙළඳපොළ හරහා යනවා. Right? So take my pricing strategy. So therefore, depending on, so here the conditions are that the customers are sensitive to the prices, right? So in a market like this, the customers may be very sensitive market. That could be the case, and you are setting a very low price as well, very low price. So if you think about the product where they earn less margin, maybe most of the time, if we take a company like the Lever Brothers, so they may be keeping a very low profit sometimes in their well-known product. The soap, especially the soap brands, they may tend to keep a very low margin because they know that it is widely being used. Even there's a heavy competition out there, heavy competition, different substitutes are there. And another condition, the substitute products are there, right? More substitute products are there. So because of that, you are going to charge you are going to keep a very thin margin, and then you may be able to outperform the competition. So it's about price penetration. So if the certain condition is there in the market, then you can think of going ahead with that. So therefore, this would be the two possible ones. And there it asks what is the impact on the price. So here you are going to charge a high price, and here it's a very low price. So that is the impact on the price. Okay, so it's about the question number 3 or the 4 as we discussed. Now we are moving to the one last question. It's question number 4, and let's see what it is. It's a it seems to be a huge case, but there may not be that much of thing to do, but we may just read and see. The DLW is a company that builds innovative environmentally friendly housing. The DLW's houses use high quality materials and the unique patent energy saving technology. You're using high quality material and also a kind of a unique technology. Used in the houses has been the result of the company's own extensive research in the area. So you are carrying out research and you are coming up with certain developments. The DLW is planning to expand into another country and has been asked by a prominent person in that country for a price quotation to build them a house. තොර ඔයා වෙන රටකට දැන් යන්න යන්නේ move වෙන්න යන්නේ expand වෙන්න යන්නේ. තොර එතනදී ඒ රටේ ඉන්න prominent person කෙනෙක්, maybe a famous person, ඔයාගෙන් ඉල්ලනවා price quotation එකක් house එකක් build කරන්න. Right? The board of directors believe that the securing this contract will help to launch their houses in the country and have agreed to quote a price for the house that will exactly cover its relevant cost. ඔයා තේරුම් ගත්තා දැන් මේ prominent person කෙනෙක්. ඔයා මේ order එක win කරගත්තොත්, ඔයා මේ order එක secure කරගත්තොත්, ඔයාට පුළුවන් වෙනවා මේ country එකට හොඳට access එකක් ගන්න, visibility එකක් ගන්න. ඒතකොට ඒ නිසා ඔයා try කරනවා price එකක් decide කරන්න relevant cost ටික විතරක් cover up කරගෙන ඔයා මේක offer කරන්න. The following information has been obtained in relation to the contract. The chief executive and the marketing director recently met with the potential client to discuss the house. The meeting was held at a restaurant and DLW provided food and drink at a cost of rupees 375. So just forget about the number. මේ ඉලක්කම realistic නැහැ. ඒක පුතාලා අමතක කරන්න. මේ කාරණාව තේරුම් ගන්න, right? The chief executive and the marketing director recently met with the potential client to discuss the house. So ආයතනයේ chief executive සහ marketing director, CEO සහ marketing director ගිහිල්ලා හම්බෙලා තියෙන මේ client ව හම්බෙලා එයාලගේ meeting එක තිබිලා තියෙන restaurant එක. එතනදී DLW නැත්නම් entity එක තමයි මේ refreshment serve කරලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒකට food and drink cost එක යාලා incur කරලා තියෙනවා 375. Then what do you think about that? So is it a relevant cost or not? So when it comes to winning this order, is it a relevant cost or not? What do you think? A refreshment අරන් දුන්න cost එක relevant වෙයිද irrelevant වෙයිද? Yes. Irrespective of winning or losing the order, the cost is there. නේ? මේ cost එක තිබ්බත් නැතත් මේකෙන් order එක ලැබෙනවද නැද්ද කියන එක තීරණය වෙන්නේ නැහැ නේ. මේ cost එක දැන් අපි හිතනවා හරි අපි ගිහිල්ලා මේ meeting එක තියලා එනවා, අපි කැම්බීම තරම් දිරෙනවා, සමහරට අපිට හම්බෙන්නේ නැහැ order එක. එතකොට එතන එහෙම තත්ත්වයක් තියෙනවා. සමහරවිට අපිට order එක හම්බ වෙනවා. ඒකට order එක හම්බ වෙනවද නැද්ද කියන එක determine වෙන්නේ නැහැ මේ cost එකත් එක්ක. Right? So therefore the food and drink cost is a irrelevant cost. So therefore the first one, if you take the food and beverage, it's an irrelevant cost. So if you take the food and beverage, it's an irrelevant cost. So the cost is 0, it's irrelevant cost. I think in the question, if you look at the requirement, you can see that produce a schedule that show the minimum price that could be quoted for the contract to build the house. Your schedule should show the relevant cost of each of the 9 items identified above, and you should also explain each relevant cost value you have included in your schedule and why any value you have excluded are not relevant. So එතකොට justification එකකුත් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඇයි මේ cost ගන්නෙ සහ නැත්තේ කියන. So I told you that the beverage cost is a irrelevant one because that does not decide the cost, remain independent irrespective of winning or losing the case. contract එක දිනුවත් නැතත් මේ cost එක තියෙනවා. ඒකට ඒක cost remains independent. So ඒක relevant cost එකක් නෙමෙයි. Then if you look at the second one, let's look at the second item. What is that? The second one, it says that rupees 1,200 kilograms of material Z will be required for the house. මේ house එක develop කරනවා නම් material Z එකෙන් කිලෝ 1200ක් ඕනේ. DLW currently has 550,000 of material of Z in their inventory. Purchase at a price of rupees 58 per kilogram. So මේක හදනවා නම් Z material 1200ක් ඕනේ. දැන්ටමත් 550ක් තියෙනවලු stocks වල. The material is regularly used by DLW in its house. It's a regularly used material and has a current replacement cost of 65. So rather like marketing ගත්තොත් 65 ගන්න තමයි ගන්න වෙන්නේ. The resale value of the material in the inventory is rupees 35. ඔයා මේ material නැවත විකුණනවා නම් ඒ විකුණන වෙන්නේ රුපියල් 35 ගන්න. ඒතකොට දැන් අපි ගාව 550ක් තියෙනවා. හැබැයි මේක නිතරම භාවිතා වෙන මැටීරියල් එකක්. ඒ නිසා අපි මේක මේ 550 යූස් කරොත් අපේ ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එකට අපි මේක මිලට ගන්න වෙනවා. මොකද because it's a material what we use frequently. So therefore you can see that this is a kind of a relevant cost, and when it comes to that, so the entire 1,200 kilograms must be valued at material Z. There it takes 1,200 kilograms, and each has to be measured at valued at rupees 65. Though the question says that it is 550 kilograms is remained in the inventory which you had purchased them at 58 per kilogram, but if you use this material you need to again purchase them because it's a material that you use constantly. So therefore when it comes to that decision, so you need to think about the replacement cost. So therefore this is the relevant cost. It's a relevant cost. Take the material at the replacement cost. Materials at replacement. ඒක උතර පැහැදිලි වුණාද? එතන අපිට පේනවා material kilogram 1200ක් යනවා. හැබැයි question එකේ කියනවා 550ක් තියෙනවා. ඒක 58 ගන්නලු අරන් තියෙනවා. ඒත් එක්කම කියනවා හැබැයි මේක regularly use කරන material එක. The regularly use කරන material එකක් නම් අපි හිතමු මේ 550 අපේ මේ housing project එකට අපි ගත්තා කියලා housing contract එකට ගත්තා කියලා. ඒ ගත්තත් අපිට ඒක replace කරන්න වෙනවා. මොකද මේක අපි නිරන්තරයෙන් භාවිතා කරන දෙයක්. එහෙනම් ඒකේ relevant cost එක වෙන්නේ replacement cost. නම් ඒක අනුව අපි 65 වලින් තමයි value කරන්න ඕනේ 1200. Right? The relevant cost material at replacement cost because it's a regularly used. Since material is regularly භාවිතා කරන නිසා අපි ඒක replace කරනවා. Then if you look at third information, 400 hours of construction workers' time are required to build the house. 400 hours of construction workers' time. DLW's construction workers are paid an hourly rate of 22 under a guaranteed wage agreement and currently have spare capacity to build the house. So අපි මේ වැඩේට construction workers ලගේ පැය 400ක් යනවා. හැබැයි construction workers වල අපි කොහොමද ගෙවන්නේ කියලා බලපුවාම ඒක guaranteed wage agreement එකක් තියෙනවා. වැඩ කරත් නොකරත් අව එකට අපි 22ක් ගෙවන්න ඕන. ඒතකොට ඒ විදිහට බලපුවම අපිට spare capacity එකක් තියෙනවා නම් එතන අපිට relevant cost එකක් නැහැ. ඒතකොට labor සඳහා අපිට cost එකක් නැහැ. Right? It's a irrelevant cost. Relevant cost එකක් නැහැ. හේතුව Workers are paid under a guaranteed wage agreement. Guaranteed wage agreement, and also spare labor is available. Spare capacity is available. Spare capacity එකකුත් තියෙනවා. ඒකට එහෙනම් labor වලට අදාළ cost එකක් නැහැ. Then it says the house will require 90 hours of engineering time. The DLW engineers are paid a monthly salary of 4,750. Again, forget about the amount. And do not have any spare capacity. එතකොට මේකට අවශ්‍ය engineering hours 90ක් engineers ට ගෙවන්නේ අපි මාසික වැටුපක්. හැබැයි අපි ගාව spare capacity එකක් නැහැ. In order to meet the engineering requirement for houses, DLW can choose one of the two options. එයාට ඒ labor එක හොයාගන්න නම් ඒ engineering time එක හොයාගන්න නම් පහත option දෙකක් තියෙනවා. එකක් pay the engineers an overtime rate of 52 per hour to perform the additional work. එතකොට අපි ගත්තොත් option 1 එක option 1 අපිට පුළුවන් මෙයාලට ගෙවන්න කීයක්ද අපිට ඕනේ 90ක් hours එකක් OT rate එකක් 52 ගානේ ගෙවලා ගන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට it's 90 into 52 4680 පළවෙනි option එකට ගියොත්. දෙවෙනි option එක reduce the number of engineering hours available for their existing job. එතකොට දැන් එයාලා occupy වෙලා තියෙන certain jobs වලට එතකොට ඒ availability එක අඩු කරලා අපිට පුළුවන් මේ time එක හොයාගන්න. The building of product Y. This would result in lost sales of product Y. එතකොට දැන් එයාලා product Y කියන එකේ තමයි involve වෙලා ඉන්නේ. අපි දැන් හිතනවා මේ product එකේ sale එක අඩු කරන්න. The summary details of existing job the engineers are working on. Information for one unit of product Y. Sales revenue 4,680, variable cost 3,365. So accordingly, you can see that this particular product Y is making a contribution of like some amount. And engineer's time required per unit 30 hours. එතකොට අපිට පේනවා Y ගේ unit එක contribution එක අපිට work out කරන්න පුළුවන්. Contribution of option එක බැලුවොත් අපිට පේනවා Y කියලා product එකක් හදනවා ඒකේ contribution එක අපි work out කරොත් Y අපිට පේනවා there you got sales revenue 4,860 minus variable cost එක 3,365. එතකොට Y ගේ එක product එක contribution එක තියෙනවා අපිට 3,365 1495. එතකොට ඒ එක product එකක් හදන්න engineering time එක ඕන වෙනවා 30 hours. එතකොට අපේ වැඩේට ඕනේ 90 hours. එතකොට ඒ කියන්නේ Y වලින් product 3ක් sacrifice කරන්න වෙනවා. So you need to sacrifice 3 units from Y. So accordingly, so the loss contribution is this much. Loss වෙන contribution එක 4485. ඒකට option දෙකක් තියෙනවා. එකක් OT කරන්න, අනිත් එක existing production එක අඩු කරන්න Y ගේ. ඒතර අපිට පේනවා මේ දෙකෙන් lower එක තමයි අපි choose කරන්නේ. ඒ අනුව අපේ relevant cost එක වෙන්නේ 4,485. Engineering right engineering cost. මේ දෙකෙන් low option එක අපි rational විදිහට බලලා අපි ගන්නවා y එක හදන එක අඩු කරනවා එකක 3කින් ඒ අනුව අපිට අවශ්‍ය time එක හොයාගන්න පුළුවන්. The relevant cost lower of relevant cost. අපි taking lower of two options. මේ option දෙකකින් වඩා අඩු එක තමයි අපි ගන්න. So that's about the fourth one. Let's move on to the fifth one. Then it says a specialized machine would be required for 7 weeks for the house to be built. Special machine එකක් අවශ්‍ය වෙනවලු සති 7ක කාලයකට. DLW have 4 weeks remaining on the 15-week specialized machine rental rental contract that cost rupees 15,000. तर අපිට මේ වැඩේට සති 7ක් යනවා. හැබැයි අපි ගාව තියෙනවා දැනට අපි රෙන්ට් කරපු මැෂින් එකක් සති 15ක් සඳහා තමයි එක සාමාන්‍යයෙන් රෙන්ට් කරගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකෙන් සති 4ක් ඉතුරු වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒත් අපිට යම් මට්ටමකට ඒකත් භාවිතා කරන්න පුළුවන් සති 4ක් සඳහා. The machine is currently not in use. ඒක භාවිතා වෙන්නේත් නැහැ. The machine can be rented for an additional 15 weeks at a cost of rupees 15,250. तर මේ machine එක අපි සති 15කට rent කරොත් 15,250ක් තමයි යන්නේ. The specialist machine can only be rented in blocks of 15 weeks. සති 15කටම තමයි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් available වෙන්නේ. ඒකට ඒක customize කරගන්න බෑ අපිට දැන් ඉතුරු වෙලා තියෙන සති 4 පරණ එකකින් භාවිතා කරනවා. ඒකට අලුත් එකකින් අපිට ඕන වෙන්නේ සති 11ක් කියලා එහෙම ගන්න බෑ. මේක available වෙන්නේ sorry අපිට ඇත්තටම සති 7යි අවශ්‍ය. ඒතර මේකෙන් 4ක් භාවිතා කරලා ඉතුරු සති 3ට අලුත් එකක් rent කරනවා කියන option එක available නැහැ. මේක rent කරන්නෙම සති 15 blocks වලට. එහෙනම් no option, you need to go for that 15-week rent. Alternatively, a machine can be purchased for 160,000. එහෙම නැත්නම් කරන්න පුළුවන් මෙහෙම 1,60,000කට machine එකක් මිලට ගන්න පුළුවන් and sold after the completion of the house for 140,000. 1,40,000කට විකුණන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙනම් ආයෙත් ඔයාලට option දෙකක් තියෙනවා. එකක් 15,250ට rent කරන එක. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඔයාට 1,60,000ට මිලට අරගෙන 1,40,000ට වැඩි ඉවරලා විකුණන එක. හැබැයි එතන අපිට බැලුවොත් cost එක 20,000 තියෙනවා. මෙතන තියෙන්නේ 15,250. එහෙනම් මේ දෙකෙන් අයෙත් අපි අඩු option එක යනවා. ඒක තමයි machine cost එක. How much is the machine cost? It is 15,250. So again, two options is available. Option 1, rent the machine. Rent the machine. Rent කරන්න පුළුවන් machine එක for 15,250. The option 2. Option 2 එක you can buy and sell. Buy කරලා sell කරන්න පුළුවන්. 160,000 you bought them, 140,000 can sell them. So accordingly the cost is 20,000. So the lower of this is 15,250. So rationally you are taking that. That's the fifth one. But below sixth one, the windows required for the house have recently been developed by DLW and use the latest environmentally friendly insulation material. ඒකට ඔයා මේකට අවශ්‍ය වෙන windows ටික නිපදවනවා ආයතනයේම ඒක environmentally friendly technology එකක් යටතේ තමයි ඔයා ඒක කරන්නේ. The DLW produced the windows at a cost of rupees 34,950. And they are currently the only ones of their type. तर මේ විදිහේ ඔයාලා හදන Windows හදලා තියෙනවා දැන්ටමත් ඒවත් 34,950 cost එකක් දරලා තමයි ඔයා හදලා තියෙන්නේ. DLW were planning to exhibit the Windows at a house building conference. House building conference එකකට මේක exhibit කරන්න තමයි ඔයා මේ Windows හදලා තියෙන්නේ. Right? The windows would only be used for display purpose at the conference and would not be for the sale to prospective clients. So මේවා හදන්නේ අපි exhibit කරන purpose එකට විතරමයි. එහෙම නැතුව මේවා කාටවත් විකුණන්න නෙමෙයි. prospective clients වලට විකුණන motive එකක් නෑ. අපි මේක හදලා තියෙන්නේ exhibition purpose එකට. Right? The DLW has had assurance from 3 separate clients that they would place an order for 25 windows each if they Windows each if they saw the technology demonstrated at the conference. එතකොට DLW assurance එකක් දීලා තියෙනවා customers ලා 3 දෙනෙක් Windows මේ විදිහේ Windows 25ක් මිලට ගන්නවා යාලා හිතන විදිහේ එක නම් හිතන විදිහේ window එකක් නම් ඒක. ඒතර මේ conference එකේ මේක දැක්කට පස්සේ ඒ customers ලා clients ලා satisfied නම් යාලා order එකක් place කරනවා 25 windows වලට කියලා. The contribution from each window is rupees 10,450. මේ contribution එක මේ එක window එකකින් හම්බ වෙනවා ඔයාලට 10,450ක්. So therefore the variable cost may be around 25,500 or something. If the windows are used for the contract, DLW would not be able to attend the conference. So දැන් ඔයාගේ විතර තව අදහසක් එනවා මේ හදපු window ටිකම අපි conference එකට යන්නේ නැතුව භාවිතා කරමුද මේ ගෙදරට කියලා. අලුතෙන් ගන්න housing project එකට භාවිතා කරමුද කියලා හිතනවා මේ windows, right? The conference organizers will charge a penalty fee of 1,500 for non-attendance by the DLW. හැබැයි conference එකට ගියේ නැත්නම් ඔයාලට දෙන penalty fee එකක් තියෙනවා 1,500. සර දැන් ඔයාගේ හිතනවා conference එකට යන්නේ නැතුව මේ හදපු window එක දාලා ගෙදර හදලා දුන්නොත් මොකද කියලා. The chief executive of DLW can meet the client directly and still secure the orders for the windows. ඒකට අර clients ලා වගේක් හිටියනේ ready වෙලා මේ technology එකෙන් හදපු windows දැක්කොත් එයාලා satisfied නම් orders place කරන්න. එතකොට දැන් එයාලට අපි conference එකට යන්නේ නැහැ කියන්නේ ඒ orders ටික අපිට අහිමි වීමේ සම්භාවිතාවක් තියෙනවා. හැබැයි the chief executives of DLW can meet the clients directly and still secure the order for the windows. ඒ වුණාට chief executive ලාට පුළුවන් කෙලින්ම ගිහිල්ලා මේ clients ලව හම්බෙලා එයාලත් එක්ක negotiate කරලා මේ orders ටික secure කරගන්න. එතකොට orders ටික නැති වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියන එක තමයි ඒ කියන්නේ. The meeting would require 2 days of the chief executive's time. Chief executive time එකකින් දවස් දෙකක් යනවා වැඩේට. The chief executive is paid an annual salary of rupees 414,000 and contracted to work 260 days per year. Chief executive අවුරුද්දකට දින 260ක් වැඩ කරනවා. වාර්ෂිකව 4,14,000ක වැටුපක් ගෙවනවා. ඒතර මේ තත්ත්වය යටතේ මොකක්ද relevant cost එක වෙන්නේ? What would be the relevant cost as you think? So if the situation is this, what may be the relevant cost? Have a guess? So I would say the only relevant cost is 1,500. It's a penalty fee. It's a penalty fee. Penalty fee එක විතරයි පුතාලට relevant cost එක වෙන්නේ. Penalty fee. Why is that? Penalty fee එක විතරක් වෙන්නේ. මොකද මේක හැදුවේ house එකට නෙමෙයි. මේක exhibition purpose එකට හැදුවේ නිසා මේක housing project එකට භාවිතා කරොත් ඒක sunk cost එකක්. Right? The cost that you have incurred to produce these windows, it's a sunk cost. ඒක sunk cost එකක්. ඒතර මෙතන question එකේ අපිට පෙන්නනවා අපිට orders 25ක් අහිමි වීම තුල අපිට අහිමි වෙන income එකක් contribution එකක් තියෙනවා කියලා. නමුත් පස්සේ අවස්ථාවක් කියනවා chief executive ගිහිල්ලා කතා කරොත් මේක එහෙම වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා. ඒතර ඒ අනුව එතන අපිට loss of contribution එකක් නැහැ. So therefore that is irrelevant. ඒ වගේම chief executives ලාට pay කරන්නේ annual salary එකක් 414,000. ඒතර ඒ annual salary එකක් නිසා ඒතර ඒකත් fixed amount එකක් මේ decision එකට අනුව ඒ cost එකේ වෙනස් වීමක් නැහැ. chief executive තමන්ගේ දවස් 260න් දෙකක් භාවිතා කරනවා මේ වැඩේට. ඒතර එතනත් relevant cost එකක් නැහැ. So therefore the only relevant cost is not attending the penalty that you would be paying if you not attend the conference. So if you take that decision, the only cost is penalty fee of 1,500. Right? So therefore you can justify that when it comes to the Windows cost 34,950, it's a sunk cost. The Windows windows manufactured for the contribution for the conference are being used for house construction house construction එකට භාවිතා කරන්නේ Windows conference එකට හදපුවා. ඒතකොට එතන ඒක sunk cost එකක්. ඒ වගේම loss of contribution එකක් නැහැ. No loss of contribution. Loss of contribution එක්කොත් contribution. ඒ වුණා 25 ගානේ අපිට 10450 ගානේ නැති වෙයි වගේ එහෙම දෙයක්වත් වෙන්නේ නැහැ මොකද because the chief executive can negotiate and win the contract. ඒ වගේම chief executive's salary irrelevant because it's a fixed cost. ඒක fixed cost එකක්. ඒක වෙනසක් නැහැ. Only cost 1,500. Then the seventh one, the house will require 400 of other materials. DAW currently has none of the materials in its inventory. The total current purchase price for these other materials is 6,000. Like obviously, other materials is 6,000. You may get there. Then the DLW's fixed overhead absorption rate is ₹30 for construction workers hour. So fixed cost, it's irrelevant, no? Cost, the absorption cost, irrelevant. The DLW's normal policy is to add 12% markup to its cost because the question had said that you are only trying to secure the relevant cost. So therefore, that is also irrelevant. Profit margin is irrelevant. No profit margin. So මේ ටික තමයි cost ටික වෙන්නේ පුතාලා. අපි මේක එකතු කරලා බැලුවොත් this is it. So this is your relevant cost. So you can say the profit margin is irrelevant. You try to cover only the relevant cost. relevant cost එක විතරයි cover කරගන්න උත්සාහ කරන්නේ. ඒ නිසා ඒකත් අදාළයි. එහෙනම් ඔයාලට මේක offer කරන්න පුළුවන් 105,235 කියන price එක. Right? That is the relevant cost. So that's the answer for the past one. Then it asks, explain 2 reasons why relevant costing may not be a suitable approach to pricing houses in the longer term for DLW. So අපෙන් අහනවා ඇයි මේ relevant cost එක suitable වෙන්නේ නැත්තේ housing price කරන්න long term එකේ. එතකොට ඒක obvious නේ. එතකොට short run එකේදී අපිට relevant cost එක ගැන හිතලා offer කරන්න පුළුවන්. නමුත් in the long run the one practical thing is that you need to cover up the fixed cost. So the relevant cost may not cover the fixed cost. Isn't it? Relevant cost does not cover up fixed cost. ඔයාලට අඩු තරමේ fixed cost එකවත් cover කරගන්නේ නැතුව තමයි යන්නේ. එතකොට ඒක long term එකේ sustainable නැහැ. So it's not sustainable because the relevant cost does not cover up the fixed cost or does not include the fixed cost. ඒ වගේම තමයි ඔයා profit margin එකකුත් නැතුව යන්න. මෙතන profit margin එකකුත් නැතුව යන්න. The relevant cost does not cover up the profit margin. ඒතර දිගු කාලේ profit earn කරන්න නැතුව යන්න බෑනේ. Profit margin. ඒතර මේ problems දෙක නිසා තමයි අපිට යන්න බැරි relevant cost එකත් එක්ක දිගු කාලේ. It does not include the profit margin and also does not include the fixed cost. මේ හේතු දෙක නිසා ඔයාට යන්න බැරි වෙනවා in the long term with the relevant cost. Recommend with justification a pricing strategy for DLW to use to price the innovative environmental friendly houses when they are launched in the new country. Again, it's a very obvious one. What is your recommendation? So given their product is novel, it's innovative, environmental friendly, right? So it's appealing. So what is the possible pricing strategy? You can think of price skimming. Setting a very high price initially, but it is justifiable because the product is innovative, the innovative, environmental friendly product. So it's a novel product, so therefore you can initially charge a very high price. You can initially charge a very high price. Given the customers are not sensitive to prices. Okay, so it's about the question number 4. The question number 5 we are not going to discuss, so it is a similar type, so you can try them on your own since we have discussed a question similar to this. So that's the end of the discussion on the pricing tutorial. In the next class we'll be taking on the discussion on budgeting. Right, in the next class we'll be looking at the budgeting, and the evening you'll be having your lectures as well, no? Right, okay, then thank you very much. So that's the end of today's discussion.